Mother's Day
by J B Priestley.
MS Doris Pearson, Uppa or VP. This drama centers around two neighbors, Mrs. Pearson and Mrs. Fitzgerald. Mrs. Annie Pearson is a pleasant but worried-looking woman. Mrs. Fitzgerald is older and has a strong personality. Going in now.
And that's all I can tell you, Mrs. Pearson. Could be a good fortune, could be a bad one. All depends on you now. Make up your mind, and there it is.
Thank you, Mrs. Fitzgerald. I'm much obliged. Did you learn this out in the East too?
I did, but will you make up your mind now, Mrs. Pearson dear? Put your foot down for once and be the mistress of your own house and the boss of your own family.
That's easier said than done. Besides, I'm so fond of them, even if they're so thoughtless and selfish. They don't mean to be.
Maybe not, but dear, tell me, is anybody better for being spoiled? Nobody. Do you think you being a servant in your own house would do them good? Never, never at all. It is the ruin of them all as well as you. Nobody should be ordering you around and treating you like dirt.
Yes, but it's so hard. Most of the times, I never know how to begin. Oh, good gracious, look at the time. Nothing ready and they will all be in a hurry.
Let them look after themselves for once. This is where you should start.
Mrs. Fitzgerald, I know you mean well and I agree with you, but I just can't.
It's possible. I learned it out east. Give me your hands, dear.
Oh no, thank you very much, Mrs. Fitzgerald. But that wouldn't do at all. They wouldn't listen, and really, I couldn't blame them. I know I ought to do it, but you see how it is. I'm so sorry.
Then let me do it.
But that's impossible.
You haven't got a single bit of the idea I imply. I propose we change places, or actually bodies. You look like me, I look like you. It's your only chance. Give me your hands and stay calm. Now look at me. Abracadabra.
After the spell has been spoken, both women, still grasping hands, go lax. Later they both come to life, but with the personality of the other.
See what I mean, dear?
Oh dear Christ, it's happened. What shall I do, Mrs. Fitzgerald? George and the children can't see me like this. And what if we can't change back? Oh good Lord.
They aren't going to. That's the point. They will have me to deal with. Only they won't know it. And stop worrying. It's easier changing back. I can do it any time we want. But let me meet your family first. That's the idea, isn't it? I will show you how to deal with them. Until then, why don't you go up to my house and come back later?
Yes, I suppose that's best. You're sure it'll be alright?
It's going to be wonderful. Now off you go, dear.
Mrs. Fitzgerald crosses and hurries out through the door. After a few moments, Doris Pearson, Annie's daughter, comes bursting in.
Mom, you'll have to iron my yellow silk. I must wear it tonight. And is my tea ready?
Your tea isn't ready.
Mom, what?
I said I didn't prepare the tea. I couldn't bother to.
I must say it's a bit much when I've been working hard all day and you can't even bother to get my tea ready. Did you hear what I said about my yellow silk?
No. Don't you like it now? I never did in the first place.
Of course I like it and I'm going to wear it tonight, so I want it ironed.
You want it ironed. What do you think it's going to do? Iron itself?
No, you are going to iron it for me. You always do.
Well, this time I am not. And don't talk rubbish to me about working hard. Why do you need your yellow silk anyways? Where are you going?
Out with Charlie Spence?
Why? Can't you find anybody better? I wouldn't be seen dead with Charlie Spence. Buck-teethed and half-witted.
Oh, please, shut up, Mother.
Doris runs out of the room. After a moment, Cyril Pearson, Annie's son enters. He is the masculine counterpart of Doris.
Hello mom, is the tea ready?
No.
Why not? Feeling off color or something?
Never felt better in my life.
Whatever it is ma, snap out of it and get cracking. I am busy tonight. Did you put my things out?
I doubt it.
Now look, you promised me that you would do it this morning. What happened?
Yes. Well, now I had decided I don't like doing it.
That's a very nice way to talk. What would happen if we all talk like that?
You all do talk like that. If there is something at home you don't want to do, you don't do it. Now I have decided to join the movement.
Mom, what's going on?
Changes, my dear boy. Changes.
Doris enters again. She is in the process of dressing and is now wearing a wrap. She looks pale and red-eyed.
You look terrible. What happened?
Oh, Mom wouldn't shut up about Charlie's pens.
Why? What? Is she like this with you to Doris?
Yes, she's suddenly all different, and that's what made me cry.
Yeah, she seems to not care about us at all and did not prepare the tea.
Hey, do you think she could have hit her head or something?
I don't think so. It sounds very far-fetched.
And oh, brother, if she's going to be like this when Dad comes home, just think of the drama that'll happen here.
That will definitely be worth watching.
Mrs. Pearson returns back to hear her children snickering at each other in the hall. She casts a cold look on them.
What are you still doing here? Don't you have any work to do? I'm going to prepare any tea for you.
Look, mother, if you won't get tea ready, then I will find something to eat myself.
Why not? Help yourself.
That's a bit thick. We both have been working all day.
Oh, is it? Then I too have done my 8 hours for the day.
That's different, Mom, and I'm out.
Cyril is right, it's completely different.
It was, and now it isn't. 40-hour week for all now. Just watch it at the weekend when I have my 2 days off.
Mom, you don't mean you're not going to do anything the weekend, do you?
You will see then. Now, why don't you mind your own work and let me do mine?
Doris runs away sobbing. George, who is Annie's husband, comes and stares at his daughter running away for a moment, and then looks at Mrs. Pearson.
What happened?
I don't know. Why don't you ask her?
Is there something wrong, Annie? I haven't seen you this riled up before.
Well, you are seeing me now. Aren't you surprised?
Yes, and I don't like this. By the way, I wanted to tell you this morning I wouldn't want any tea. I am heading to the club tonight. They are serving special drinks there.
It's fine. I haven't made any.
What do you mean you didn't make any?
I meant what I said, and it turned out to be a good thing.
Yes, but what if I wanted some?
Oh my goodness, listen to this man. Annoyed because I don't get a tea for him that he doesn't even want. Ever tried doing that in the club? Telling the bartender you don't want a drink, but annoyed that they didn't have it poured out earlier? If your friends were to hear this, they would laugh at you even more than they do so now.
What? No, they don't laugh at me, Annie.
Any person would see that. Except you, perhaps. You're one of their long-standing jokes. They call you the Pompey Pearson because they think you're slow and pompous.
You lie, I'm sure. They would never do that.
Yes, they do. It has always escaped my understanding why you would want to spend so much time at a place where they are always making fun of you behind your back, leaving your wife home alone night after night. At least she doesn't make you look like a fool.
George exits almost as if somebody has hit him over the head. Cyril, after watching him go, turns indignantly to Mrs. Pearson.
Mom, you should not have told him this. You have been hurting our feelings all day.
Sometimes it does people good to have their feelings hurt, Cyril. And what good are you either? You spent all your time and money in stupid races, ice shows and whatnot.
Well, what if I do? I have got to enjoy myself somehow, haven't I? I go and shut the door. Mother, stay here.
It was Mrs. Fitzgerald knocking the door. As she chats with her friend, George enters the living room again and sees the visitor. He regards them anxiously.
Just looking in for a minute, I suppose, Mrs. Fitzgerald.
Well, yes, I suppose so, George.
George? Why did you call me George?
Oh, my apologies. I forgot.
Why does it matter? Your name's George, isn't it? Who do you think you're? The Duke of Edinburgh?
What is with you? Isn't it bad enough without her calling me George? No tea, Pompey Pearson, and poor Doris have been crying out upstairs. Don't you care?
Oh, no, please, Mrs. Fitzgerald.
Either I'm off my rockers or you two are. Look, you are Mrs. Fitzgerald. So why are you telling yourself to stop when you are not doing anything? Tell her to stop. Then it would make some sense.
Excuse me, George Pearson. Is this the way you speak when a friend or neighbor of mine comes to visit me?
I can do what I want.
Then why don't you go off to your club? Special night tonight, isn't it? They'll be waiting for you, waiting to have a good laugh. Go on then. Don't disappoint them.
That's right. Now you make me silly in front of her too. Go on, don't mind me. Let the neighbors into the see the fun. Sixes and sevens. Have you gone barmy or what?
If you shout at me again like that, George Pearson, I might just slap you.
Oh dear, I ought to have known.
You ought to have known. Why? It has nothing to do with you, Mrs. Fitzgerald. Look, there is a lot going here, so perhaps if you will excuse us.
Would you like to say that again, Mr. George Pearson?
Alright, I am up.
Alright then, I'm out to get some drinks.
Doris enters slowly, looking miserable. She is still wearing the wrap.
Hello, Doris dear. I thought you were going out with Charlie Spence tonight. What happened?
Hello, Mrs. Fitzgerald. I was about to go out with Charlie Spence tonight, but now I have called it off because, if you must know, my mother's been going on at me, making me feel miserable, and saying he's got buck teeth and is half-witted.
That's enough, quite enough. Earlier Mr. Pearson, now you. I have heard enough. Listen, I want to have a private little talk with Mrs. Pearson here, so why don't you leave us alone for a few minutes? Go on, please. I promise you that you won't regret it. There's something here that only I can deal with.
I'm glad somebody can, 'cause we can't. I will be out.
Doris exits. As they go, Mrs. Fitzgerald moves to small table and sits. She eagerly beckons Mrs. Pearson.
Mrs. Fitzgerald, we must change back now. We really must. This has gone far enough. I can see they're all miserable and I can't bear it. Hurry up, please.
Well, yes, if you insist. Be quiet now and relax.
Ah well, I enjoyed that. Now listen, Mrs. Pearson, don't go soft on them again, else it'll all have been wasted. Just give them a look, a tone of voice, now and again to suggest you might be tough with them if you wanted to be. And it ought to work. Anyhow, we can test it now. Come on.
Doris and Cyril file in through the doorway, looking apprehensively at Mrs. Pearson. The family looks anxiously at Mrs. Pearson, who smiles. Much relieved, they smile back at her. And Mrs. Fitzgerald is about to go out.
George, would you please come in?
Yes, Annie?
Seeing that you don't want to go out, I will tell you what I thought we will do. How does cooking supper sound? No objections, I hope.
Suits me. What about the children?
Well, I am sure that they won't have any objections too. Am I wrong, children?
No, Mother.
This drama is a satirical and humorous depiction of the status of the human, in particular a housewife, a person who dedicates all her time in the service of her family but is often taken for granted and goes unnoticed. Through this play, we attempted to bring light on this genuine and concerning issue. Let us all respect, care, and help our mother for all the hardship she faces for us. Characters in the play: Mrs. Pearson by Dev Vijayan, Mrs. Fitzgerald by Aditya Das, Cyril Pearson by Abhinesh, George Pearson by Anvesh Mishra, narration by Aarti, script by Badri, technical support by Abhinesh and Arvind, direction by Dev Vijayan.